Hi everybody. So today on Gradcracker, we welcome new employers. We've got lots of new roles, opportunities going live every day. Me and Jess also wanted to tell you about the number of opportunities with deadlines at the end of November. So we've got nearly 250 graduate roles and over 200 placements with deadlines next week. So don't miss out on your perfect opportunity. Get your applications in. So on today's webinar, we welcome Cambridge Consultants, or CC, one of the world's leading product development and technology consultancy firms. We are joined by Lucy, Talent Acquisition Partner and Graduate Finley, and interns Emily and Kai, who all found their roles through Gradcracker. So we'll also be hearing from the panel about the recruitment process, hints and tips, the different projects that they've been working on, and much, much more. So stay tuned while we introduce everybody to you. So Lucy, I'm going to come to you and start with you first. Could you tell the students a little bit about yourself and your role and involvement with early careers?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hi everyone. Happy Thursday. I am Lucy and I'm an early careers recruiter here at CC. So I manage all of our tech scholar, intern and graduate recruitment. So basically I am there to support you through the whole process. So your application initially will be reviewed by myself before it goes to a hiring manager. And then I'll be a point of contact throughout the whole process and I'll meet you at a second stage interview. And then once you've joined and kind of been there through the onboarding process, we organise like scavenger hunts around the office, get to know me sessions, pizza nights, just different things that you can kind of take advantage of to settle into your role. So I will be part of all of that for you. And yeah, we're recruiting quite a few different roles across internship and grad level at the moment. So you can definitely take a look on the hub and see what we've got currently.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Lucy. And give everybody a bit of an overview to Cambridge Consultants. So what do you do?
Yeah, of course. So we are Cambridge Consultants. So we're technology consultants, we're product developers. So effectively, clients come to us often with problems that they need solutions to. For example, needing internet and aeroplanes, but not knowing how to achieve that, which kind of goes against kind of basic physics often. So we basically will come up with solutions to problems across the wide range of sectors that we work within. So built up of engineers, scientists, mathematicians. STEM is definitely our space, basically, and we work with around, well, a huge amount of kind of different clients, but we're working on around 400 projects each year at the moment. So lots of variety and end-to-end exposure for those who join us.
And you're not massive, are you, as an employee? Is there about 900 people who work there?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got around 650 people in our Cambridge office.
Yeah.
We've got around 100 people in our Boston office and 50 in our Asia offices, and we cross collaborate really well. So for those that join us on a permanent basis, like our grads, we really promote internal mobility. So we've got people that have done 2-year secondments in Boston or people from Asia with us right now. So whilst we are global, there's lots of kind of cross collaboration and central communication, which is really, really nice, to be honest. But with kind of hybrid working, you definitely are not going to see 650 people in this Cambridge office. Canteen is probably like the busiest space. And other than that, yeah, it's just through all our different communities that we've got going on.
I think Kai's going to speak about your canteen a little bit later on.
Amazing.
So talk to us, Lucy, about your future plans and specifically with early careers.
Yeah, absolutely. So early careers recruitment is a huge focus for us and has always been. Our CEO started as a tech scholar, so that's like pre-university. He joined us for a year, and lots of other people here at CC, you'll know, will have joined as interns, tech scholars as grads. So we recruit between probably like 25 to 30ish grads a year, 15 to 20 plus interns, and that will continue to grow. But also what we're exploring at the moment, as well as a lot of apprenticeship recruitment. So this is across levels, but also whilst I know a lot of the audience today will be grads and interns, not necessarily looking for apprenticeships, the apprenticeship options that we have will benefit all at CC because there's a levy that can be used to upskill. So we'll really encourage people at CC to later in their careers take upskilling apprenticeships if they want to drive into different directions. We had someone super recently who just moved from mechanical team into our AI team. So, you know, utilizing those learning and development opportunities to progress within your career and develop your skills elsewhere. So lots of opportunity for growth in terms of our growth in numbers, but also individual growth as well with what you're doing and your skills.
Yeah, it's brilliant to know that that's on offer when a student does start at CC, that they can progress the skills and keep learning and developing through the business. And you've kind of touched on culture a little bit by how you introduced CC at the beginning, but in 60 seconds, how would you describe the culture at Cambridge Consultants?
Yeah, absolutely. Our learning and development department was one of the reasons I joined CC. I'm really kind of bought into progression. There's so much availability there for you. In my interview, someone said to me, everyone will smile at you in the corridor. And I just thought that was such a sales piece. But honestly, everyone is so friendly. Everyone smiles at you in the corridor. I wouldn't say we're just this one big family. We've got loads of different communities. It's all about bringing your individual self to work. It's not about fitting in, it's about adding to the team. So we've got loads of different groups depending on who you are, what you're interested in. You can be really, really social, you can not be as social, you can just keep yourself to whatever it is that you enjoy doing. But for me, it's just a welcoming space where everyone can be themselves at work and be around people that have like-mindedness or just be completely different to them. So yeah, it's a really nice, enjoyable environment for me, and lots of nice social things, and the free rooftop bar is definitely a winner.
Now that does sound exciting.
Find out about that.
And you, like Lucy said at the beginning, you'll meet Lucy all the way through the application process as well. So you've definitely got a face to a name as well when you're watching this webinar. So just to speak about your opportunities a little bit. So Cambridge Consultants, on their company hub, they are open for their interns and graduate opportunities, all open to multiple candidates across all STEM disciplines. So the internships and graduate opportunities cover programs such as software engineering, hardware, testing, design and technology. The placements are all a year long, so if you're looking for that sandwich placement, they are definitely there for you. And the graduate opportunities are there as well, all with a deadline at the moment of the 30th of November. So make sure you get your applications in. That is a rolling deadline, so it might move forward a little bit later on in the year, but we don't need to miss out on these opportunities because they are absolutely fantastic. So if you can apply, watch this webinar and get your applications in as soon as you are ready to. So what we're going to do now is move on and meet the panel. So thank you, Lucy. I'll be coming back to you towards the end of the webinar and meet the panel and find out a little bit more about them. So we've got a bit of a mix today, like I said at the beginning of the webinar, and we've got graduates and interns as well, which is exciting. So Finlay, you are our graduate. So tell us all about yourself. So where did you go to university and what did you study?
Hi everyone. Yeah, so I'm Finlay. I'm a grad in the DSP team at Cambridge Consultants, which is mostly to do with sort of a bit of software, a bit of embedded programming, also sort of radio frequency stuff. Yeah. I studied at Strathclyde Uni back up in Glasgow. Yeah. I studied an integrated master's in electrical mechanical engineering.
Mm-hmm. DSP, what does that stand for?
Oh, sorry, that stands for digital signal processing.
Perfect. Acronyms. I was going to ask you, thought, I hope you remember what it stands for. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that, Finlay. And interns now. So Kai and Emily. So start with you, Kai. What are you currently studying and at which university?
Hi, so I am at the University of Sheffield and I'm currently doing a integrated master's in mechanical engineering. So I'm here in between my 3rd and 4th year.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Kai. And Emily?
Hi, yeah, so I'm the same. So I've done 3 years at Nottingham University and I'm doing an integrated master's in mechanical engineering as well. So I will go back for my final year after this placement.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. And what we're going to do now is break the ice. Quick fire round to start off with. So tell us all an interesting fact about CC, and Finlay, you first.
So my interesting fact about CC is that there is a free lunch every day in the canteen. It changes every day and there's a lot of options. So yeah, it's a nice perk to have. Yeah,
definitely. See, I told you we were going to talk about the canteen later on. Thank you very much, Finlay. And Kai?
Following on from lunch, this started in the sort of beginning of summer. In my little section in my department, we go out and play spike ball every day after lunch, and we thought that it would just be a fun little thing that we'd do for a couple of weeks, but we've been playing every day religiously, rain or shine, throughout winter. It's yeah, we've gained a bit of a reputation.
I actually know what spike ball is.
Yeah, I was trying to say that. What is spike ball?
Oh, I could talk for ages about spike ball. That's not quick fire questions.
On your webinar.
It's a ball net game in teams of 3, smacking a ball against the net. It's kind of volleyball rules. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's just so much fun. it's very active. We've got a lovely outdoor space, like a lawn, that we can play on. It's wonderful.
So you can stuff your face and get fit afterwards.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Perfect
Burn off your
combination.
lunch.
Exactly, burn off your lunch. Thanks very much, Kai. And Emily, what's yours?
Yeah, well, after you've had lunch and played spikeball, if you want a cup of tea,
Yay!
my fact is that Cambridge Consultants, we actually developed the first circular tea bag for Tetley tea.
Yeah.
So we have Tetley tea bags everywhere, and yeah, they're very good, and that was all thanks to us.
Perfect.
Emily, what's the benefit of having a circular tea bag over any other shape? Do we know?
I think I'm sure it's,
Spot.
you know, probably the perfect strength of tea. It was just that's
Yeah.
what it gives, and it, you know, goes out at a constant rate. Some fluids, someone very clever will have worked it out.
Perfect, cool.
I'm not going to mention Yorkshire tea at this point. Okay, so what we're going to do now is hand over to you, Jessica, and we're going to speak to everybody in a little bit more detail.
Thank you. Yes. So, Kai, you're at the top of my list, my love, so I'm coming to you first. If you could tell us a bit more about your role and what life is like for you at CC.
Cool. So I am a mechanical engineer in the mechanics and design section within the ICE department. So CC has 3 main departments. So the one that I'm within, ICE, industrial, consumer, and energy. So I'm doing lots of mechanical design, testing, all kinds of stuff across a range of projects. So yeah, lots of really cool mechanical based work. Yeah.
Brilliant. And sorry, Kai, if you've said this, I might have missed it. When did you start your placement?
Yeah, I started at the end of July. Yeah.
End of July. Fantastic. So tell us a bit about kind of what life has been like for you then since July. So kind of like a bit more about the onboarding process, settling in, the teams and everything, you know, what's been like for you, kind of that kind of 6 months, less than 6 months?
A bit less.
Bit less.
I mean, certainly a big learning curve. I imagine everyone feels the same. It's my first time being in a big company like this. So yeah, it was definitely a bit nervous at first, but what Lucy was saying about everyone being really friendly, everyone smiling, everyone being there to support and, you know, answer questions, is very, very true, I found. So at the beginning, lots of meeting the team, having conversations with everyone. Something that I did is scheduled half-an-hour meetings with some of the people who are more senior in the company, some of the project managers, for example, just to introduce myself and get to know more about how the company works, which really helped my understanding of, you know, how CC operates on a wider level to just what I'm doing, which was really, really good. Lots of training, lots of skill development, and then straight into project work within the first couple of weeks, really, which was really exciting to be working on, you know, some substantial engineering work, which is what I'm here to do, I guess. So very positive.
And Kai, what was your initial attraction to CC? You know, why did they stand out for you and why did you want to apply to them?
Well, I guess it's hard to know at this stage of your, you know, development as an engineer, what it is that you're super interested in. So at uni, I did Formula Student, for example, you know, building racing cars, and like that's really fun, but it's still very constrained in, you know, that's the thing that I had an opportunity to do. So now I've come here in a company that works on like a range of projects far greater than I could have ever really imagined, you know, in industries and, you know, on topics that I didn't even know existed. I thought, and, you know, I'm very glad that I've taken this opportunity to really expand my horizons and discover what it is that I'm interested in. So I, you know, have a better understanding going forward in what I want to do and having a really great time doing it.
Yeah, definitely. Kai, I actually need to collar you after this webinar because me and you need to chat, because I wasn't going to mention this. I thought I'll do it off the webinar, but because you mentioned Formula Student, we actually have an area on Gradcracker called the Student STEM Society Hub area, where societies like yourself can have a hub and promote how amazing you are to our employers. Now, at the moment, we need to get your society live on Gradcracker, so I will be working with you, Kai.
Sounds brilliant. We'd love
For anyone that's listening from the Sheffield Racing Society, let me know. Get your sorted out. So good, I'm glad you mentioned that. But in terms of, that's a really interesting point as well. Again, kind of that change from university life. to kind of working in industry, and again, that kind of exploration in terms of where your degree can take you. You've obviously put yourself in quite a few situations, Kai. You mentioned earlier on, you've kind of reached out to other members of the team to say, hi, I'm here, I'm interested. You've got a lot of confidence to do that. Where do you get the confidence from? Again, when I'm speaking to students, a lot of them are a little bit nervous, a little bit anxious, putting yourself out there. Where have you got that confidence from to do that, and how are you doing it?
I mean, I think that's a really interesting question, because typically I wouldn't describe myself as a super extroverted person. Yeah, there's obviously levels to these things, but I think it's more to do with, the environment that you're around, where for a lot of people and in a lot of situations, it's easy to keep to yourself. I feel like being in a company like CC, where everyone's so friendly and a lot of these things are kind of almost forced upon you. Like it wasn't my idea to schedule these meetings. It was my line manager on day one who said, I think it'd be a really good idea for you to schedule these calls and learn more about the company. And that really helped, because, some people aren't super extroverted, and, that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, you can still have a really great time on placement if you're a bit nervous about being in a big company with loads of people and having to talk to them. Like, I get that can be really nerve-wracking. So, and here I think it's just a very easy and caring place to be able to go and reach out and do that kind of thing.
That's a lovely, lovely thought, actually, Kai. And Lucy, this kind of matches what you said earlier as well. It almost doesn't matter, who you are as an individual, whether you're really out there, really confident, or, confident, but in your own way, where, you might not be out there as much. And, all these different individuals will fit at CC. And it's interesting what we're only 16 minutes in, and both of you have said that already. So that's a really, really nice thought and a really nice representative of what CC is all about. So really good point. Kai, I'm dying to talk about your projects, but that's the next question. So I'm going to move on to Emily, if that's okay. So Emily, you're next on my list. Similar kind of question. What's your current role like at CC, and why CC? What was your kind of initial attraction?
Yeah, so I'm the mechanical and manufacturing intern in our global medtech division. So medtech kind of operates, we do all things medical devices, smart implants, drug delivery. And so kind of at university, one of my university project was very medtech focused. And so I knew that was an area I wanted to work in. Although if I went, like, the reason I chose CC in consultancy is because, like I touched upon, it's just the breadth of projects that you're exposed to is incredible, really. I think if you go to a product company, although it's a great opportunity, you'll be developing one thing maybe for a long time or your entire career. And at that stage of my development, like I said, I couldn't really imagine doing that and just committing myself to one area. So I thought, genuinely, I really enjoy kind of medtech, and so I wanted to stay in that space, but give myself the opportunity to find out where I fit in that. And so that's really what drew me to CC. And I'm so glad I made that decision, because, like I said, the amount of projects that we have on offer and the amount of expertise that's just on hand, it is incredible. And kind of similarly as to what Kai said, in speaking to people, like, there is really definitely such an open culture about that. I mean, although mine wasn't at the start when I first joined, so I've been at CC, I joined the same day as Kai, actually, so for coming up to 4 months now. And I didn't schedule meetings with some people at that stage, but a couple of weeks ago, I thought to myself that I'm really interested in smart implants, for example. So I reached out to someone who is kind of like really in that space and in that team and developing them. And we just scheduled an hour, and he told me all about the work that he does. And it was completely just like of our own accord, and we just scheduled in some time. And I think that's what's so special about CC, is that everyone's really invested in kind of developing one another and like encouraging and like growing other people's skills. And so I was just really appreciative as someone that had, frankly, no knowledge and no experience in smart implants. I didn't even know what they were really, or what they did.
Well, I was going to ask that.
Well, so you can have general implants like a prosthetic replacement or a hip replacement, but smart implants go into the body, and then they like give information to the nerves and then can receive information back. So they might zap a certain nerve to make it function in a specific way, for example. And so I had no idea, and someone was more than happy to kind of give me all this knowledge and experience and tell me about the projects that they'd worked on. And also now it kind of came back because there's some internal work going on with smart implants, and now because I had that conversation with that person, they now know that I'm someone that's enthusiastic about it. So it kind of works both ways, that they might come back to me. So yeah, really reiterating what Kai said. And I think that's just down to the kind of environment that CC works in, and then it is so open that people are more than welcome to talk to each other and chat and help one another.
And you know what, ultimately, as everyone on this webinar will know, and everyone who knows me will know, this is why I'm a massive advocate of placements, because already, Emily, you've been experiencing these experiences and you're starting to learn stuff which you might never have considered before, and this has opened up a whole new world of opportunity now, which when you do go back to university you can then apply and you know drive your career in that direction if that's the the route that you want to go down. So absolutely fantastic. Again, I'm trying not to ask about the projects in too much detail because I'm going to come back to you on that if that's okay. So Finlay, coming to you next, last but absolutely not least, yeah, similar questions. Current role, YCC, what's life like for you?
Yeah, so I maybe jumped the gun a bit before, but so I'm in the DSP team, so is very based in sort of the combination of electronic hardware with software. That's probably the best way to describe it. So I think for me, I was just really interested in so many areas, such as sort of wireless communications, PCB manufacture. And I think for me, at least, DSP was a really sort of good middle ground where you get exposure to all of those things.
Yeah.
I think in terms of YCC, I think slightly along the same sort of road as the others were on about, it was very clear to me, even in the sort of application process, that it is a company where there's really knowledgeable people and a wealth of expertise, but also not intimidating. So even on my first day, people in the team would come up to me just to introduce themselves. I've had just random chats with people beside the coffee machine. No matter what level, sort of director level, they'll still want to chat to you. Yeah, and I think it just seems like a really nice place to develop. And I think that's something that is big in sort of CC culture as well, is the development. I think there's a lot of push for you to get exposures to different things without being too forceful. So there's definitely an emphasis on you exploring your interests and maybe hearing about something that's going on and sort of chatting to someone a bit more about it, and maybe then sort of going onto a project from that. So yeah.
Exciting stuff. So Finlay, I'll stick with you then, because you've spoke about already. I feel like I understand now what DSP stands, digital signal processing.
Yeah.
Lucy, sign me up. Tell me a bit about your world. Tell me a bit about the projects. What have you been up to then?
Okay, so since I've started, I've been on an internal project. So rather than that being for a client, this is for sort of self-development, to build up some knowledge in the company, and also sort of have almost something at a very sort of basic level ready to show to a client or to build upon when you then get a client project. So the subject of my project has been to do with sort of 5G and visualizing what's going on in 5G communications, to then use in a whole host of client demos or maybe a conference. So nice and general. And we've had opportunities already, despite the project not being finished, to demo to the project to some people in the department, and I think also it has been used in some sales as well. So it's nice to see your work already getting used at an early stage.
And Finlay, what's the lifespan of these projects then? Are these kind of projects always ongoing and you get to kind of jump in, or will you kind of work on this project till, from finish to end? How does it work for you?
So for this particular project, I will be working on it from the beginning till the end. So I was slightly lucky when I started that this project started maybe a week or two after I joined, and it'll run to completion maybe about the end of January. But there are all sorts of sizes of projects, in terms of numbers of people on the projects and also duration. So there's some really big ongoing projects where people come and go, and then something like my project where there's only maybe about 5 people on the project, and very sort of dynamic. So yeah, there's a wide range of project styles within CC.
And will you be working on multiple projects whilst working on the 5G one?
Yes. I think the 5G one has been taking up my time for the moment, but then already I've sort of been exploring what else is out there and sort of putting out some feelers for what other projects are coming up or happening and what I could sort of be useful on. And I've already sort of started having those discussions with my manager as well. Yeah.
So in terms of how do you decide again how to split your time, and how do you kind of look after your time in terms of the time you dedicate to a certain project, making sure you give enough time to explore what the next projects are coming up? How does all that work?
So in terms of being on multiple projects, what would happen is you would have a sort of agreed split with you would agree that with your manager. So say it might be 70-30, you would aim to spend roughly those chunks of time on those projects. And I'd say something nice is that you're sort of responsible for your own time. It's not like someone's sort of looking down your neck, sort of asking where something is. You're responsible for looking after what you're working on which I think is nice because it gives you the freedom to do things in your own style.
Yeah, definitely. So then in terms of the next project, obviously for you as an individual, Finlay, I'm guessing you want to get as much experience as possible.
Yeah.
So how free are you then to say jump into another arm, say like ICE or med tech if you wanted to, or are you kind of now in this particular area in that's your kind of lane?
I would say no, not at all. I think a big thing at CC is sort of sideways mobility. So people sitting around me, Sonia, who sits next to me, was interested in a biology project and spoke about that with her manager and is also now partly working on that project. So there's you're very much not put in a box. It's more about your skills and your interests more than just what your role title is.
Okay, that's cool. So you can keep, again, all options up, and it seems quite relaxed in that sense as well, that, CC are wanting you to get as much experience as possible, which is really, really good. Fantastic. Thanks, Finlay. So Kai, I'm going to come to you next. Projects. So tell us what you've been working on then, and what's your kind of favorite project you've worked on so far?
So as Emily said, I've been working here for, just under 4 months. And in that time, I've already been on 3 projects, which is pretty awesome. And they're all completely different to each other. So the kind of range of the stuff that I've been learning has been pretty wild. So the first one that I was spending a lot of time on was an internal project. And that was a very biology-focused project. So within the first couple of weeks, I was in the biology labs wearing lab coats, pretending to be a biologist. It was something I've never done before, which was kind of half, oh my God, what have I got myself into? Be careful what you wish for. But also learning from some amazing actual biologists and having the whole team there and coming out with, an appreciation and understanding of all that kind of thing was great. So super like that. I've been spending the majority of my time since then, and kind of during, a lot of these projects have all had big overlap, so splitting your time the same way that Finlay described, working on a consumer electronics project for a big brand, which is completely different, lots of design, lots of prototyping, and it's pretty cool, you know, having a prototype printed out in-house and feeling like I've made a really substantial contribution to that, because, you know, the teams aren't huge on these projects. So, you know, feeling really involved, getting stuck in, even though I'm just a mere intern, is, yeah, no, it's really cool. And now I'm just starting on a new internal project, which is called the Tech Scholar Project. So there's 4 Tech Scholar projects that run, and that's just for tech scholars and interns. So I'm working on one with Emily, and that will run for 6 months-ish. And at the end, they'll be presented to, you know, the whole company, and there'll be a winner, which is pretty awesome. And so it's a nice thing to do as an intern, but also developing some IP or some cool promotional material for the company. It's worthwhile as well. Maybe Emily will talk more about what that project is.
Yeah, because I was going to ask that kind of an internal project for me. I kind of maybe a bit silly to think, but I kind of didn't think you'd always be working on external client projects. So an internal project, is that something quite often, Lucy, that the business runs to kind of, again, upskill the staff and make sure you, as a business, you're doing the best you can do?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's working on internal capabilities as well. Like we're designing new science as well that we can then sell to clients. So there's clients coming to us with a problem, but also us thinking ahead of the curve. What's this new science that we can be kind of developing ourselves? The Tech School project is something I love. We do it every year. It's such an awesome way of our tech scholars and interns having kind of real responsibility on an end-to-end project, that it's just interns and tech scholars with the knowledge of the company kind of hopefully there for them. We've just done a really cool team building day as well. Your team, Kai and Emily's team, won. It's our egg race where they had to get it. It was like part of getting the tech scholar teams to like kind of get to know each other at first. I think, was it getting an unboiled egg like 3.7 meters down in 2 minutes time without it like stopping moving? This is a whole complex thing that as a recruiter I could not have won that, but it was really cool. I think the Tech Scholar project is so hugely valued at CC. The whole company come and watch that end day. These internal projects are just as valuable and hopefully just as exciting.
Yeah, definitely. So Emily, I don't know if you want to add to that a little bit with you being involved as well, or project.
Yeah, so me and Kai, like you said, we're on the same Tech Scholar project. So there are 4 that are running this year. But our project, we're going to be developing a solid state fermenter for mushroom cultivation. So, and specifically, the end use is to extract psilocybin, which is a natural compound found in mushrooms, which is being used in treatments for lots of mental health conditions. So it's being used in experimental treatments for kind of depression and OCD and things like that. So psilocybin is the compound found in magic mushrooms, and you can take people and kind of have a therapeutic trip, and it's been shown to have such positive effects in research. And so CC have recognized this as a company that, although lots of experimental work is being done on it at the moment, when it comes to actually batch producing mushrooms, that kind of globally no one has really shown a capability for that. So that's why we're going to kind of develop this fermenter and hopefully grow some mushrooms and see where we get to.
Wow. So in terms of time on this project and, you know, putting yourself in a situation, I mean, I'm assuming, Emily, you don't know much about this area beforehand. So where are you sourcing all this from? How does this project even start, and how does it grow?
Yeah, so like I said, there are 4 that are presented to us. So actually another thing that's really cool about the Tech Scholar projects is they're all proposed by like other employees. So for example, you get assigned a buddy when you join CC, and my buddy, he's the PM of another Tech Scholar project that's happening. And so they're proposed by other employees, and often these are people around you and they just have a vision for this project. And so then they'll pitch them to the Tech Scholar kind of management team, and then they have their internal process, and they then choose 4 projects that will be run. And then ourselves as the interns, we can then give our top choices. And I mean, Kai and I are very happy this was our top choice and we managed to get our top choice. So yeah, really looking forward to it.
So in terms of kind of time then, in terms of I don't know why I'm so focused on time with my questions, but I'm just thinking, how do you kind of navigate all your time? Have you got another project that you need to be working on, or is this solely you now for the foreseeable?
Yeah, so with our tech school projects, as an example, we're spending 20% of our time on those. So that's roughly 1 day a week. And like people have touched on before, you can spend that whenever you want. If you want to give Tuesday as your day for tech scholar day, you can do that, or you can kind of dip in and out like as when's best suited for your kind of schedule. But so I'm on, as Kai said, we've been here for like less than 4 months, and I've probably been on like 4 or 5 projects by now. But I've kind of settled down because I'm on one client project, and I've been on that one for the past 2 months or so. And it's going to be running until like through into the new year. So that's been taking up a lot of my time. But there was a stage, as they mentioned before, there is quite a lot of overlap. So at one point, it was a great position to be in some ways. I had probably too many projects that I was going to be on. But so I sat down and had a meeting with my line manager and kind of spoke to him about the situation and said that although I think it's great to be enthusiastic and kind of throw yourself in, but also there's a point in which you need to recognize that you're out of your depth, or you're going to kind of be putting yourself forward for too much. And so because people were asking me to do work, because intern work is really valued in the company, and people know that kind of there's lots of technical work that we can do, and testing and development. And so I'd had like quite a few too many people approach me for work, and so I had to say no to people, and kind of saying no felt a bit strange. But having my line manager to talk about that with really helped me, and he was like encouraging me and reassuring me that no, this is the right decision. And kind of I think CC, they want to stretch you, and it's definitely a steep learning curve, but by no way would they want you to ever be something that's out of your depth or feel that like you've signed up for too much. So I think that wasn't a problem that I was expecting to have when I joined the company. But it's really nice that what could have been a problem definitely wasn't, and it's such an environment where you can just say, oh, 1 second, I've maybe got too much on.
And that's actually really quite a good point to make for all the audience listening, because when you are going out on these places, when you are going out on these graduate program schemes, jobs, whatever, yes, you've got to be seen being out there, putting yourself in certain situations, but then you've also got to recognize, don't put yourself too thin, and then you can't actually commit to something, or you can't give something your all. So it's a really good point, that, because everyone says, don't they, you put yourself out there, yes, and ask and get involved, but you've got to recognize, actually, no, enough's enough, I'm just going to look after what I've got. So that's really good point, Emily.
And look after yourself, I think, as well. Sorry, I think like look after yourself as well. Work-life balance is so important. We don't have a culture here where it's like, okay, you've got more work, so work the extra hours. It's there's a rooftop bar that's open from this time. Finish your day, go and calm down, go and relax, or go and do whatever you like after work, but don't overdo it.
Yeah. Lucy, I'm going to ask you then, so what's this rooftop bar like? Tell me about this rooftop bar.
Our rooftop bar is a really great space where we can take clients there, but also on the days that we don't have client meetings from 5 p.m. onwards, it's open to everyone at CC. So all staff can go there. There's soft drinks, there's alcoholic drinks, there's a whole outside space with speakers. At Christmas, there's like mulled wine and mince pie nights with all the Christmas music. We have Pims nights. It's just a really nice space at the end of the day if you just want to go in to chat to people. I've been up there and spoken to people that I've never spoken to before, and suddenly had a really cool, interesting conversation. You go up maybe with some of your team and end up speaking to someone completely different and just networking. And you don't have to go there after work. I don't even go there that often after work, but if you want to and you want to go there, it's a really cool space just to network, really, I think, and use. I'm a big fan. I think our interns and tech scholars and grads probably use it quite a bit as well. I hope, it's a good resource. But so I think work-life balance either way, flexible working. I have 2 dogs. I really like finishing early so I can get home to my children, my dog children. So, everyone's got their own kind of things that are important to them. And I think that's why not overdoing it with projects and kind of being reasonable, like Emily's done, is super important.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm really glad you said the word networking as well, because I can imagine, from all of your experiences here, almost networking is crucial. Yes, you're working on a certain project in a certain team at a certain time, but you almost don't know what's going to come in next. You almost don't know what you're going to work on this time next year, never mind, in a couple of months' time. So almost networking is almost crucial within your company and within your industry, really, isn't it? And having those skills is quite important to develop, even if you haven't got
Yeah.
them.
And I think, but not everyone has those skills. And
Yeah.
also the thing that I think is quite important is not everyone wants to network with clients as well. Not everyone wants to sit on a client meeting. Some people really just want to do that technical work and not have to network as much. And that's actually okay. You know, we've got so many different people here, so many different minds. Networking is important. You want to get jobs on, you want to get kind of cool projects, but also, you know, we can help build people's confidence, but also we can help other people appreciate that not everyone wants to do all of that kind of networking, going and speaking to people, and that's actually fine. You know, it's all about kind of having a diverse range of people and skills. So
yeah, really good point. Love it. In terms of next questions is future plans. But I feel like I know this answer for all of you already. You're going to stay at 60 and this is going to be it. Finlay, I'll come to you next. You know, in terms of where you're at in your kind of stage in your career, what's the future looking like for you at CC? And, you know, can you imagine yourself where you'd be in, say, a year's time or even potentially 5 years' time?
Yeah, I think at this stage in my career, I think probably the biggest thing for me is sort of getting exposure to a lot of different sort of concepts, technical and otherwise, just sort of, I think generally putting myself out there on projects and sort of aiming to sort of better myself in terms of public speaking and all those other soft skills that maybe you don't get so much time for at uni. So yeah, I'd say in a year's time, probably just be more confident in sort of my programming skills and applying them to sort of technical challenges. I'd say 5 years time would like to sort of develop slightly up the hierarchy, maybe become a senior engineer. I think that sort of path would be really cool. Yeah.
Finlay, have you got any thoughts or admirations to become chartered or anything like that? Or
yeah, it's something I've thought about and I've sort of discussed with my manager as well. It's not something I think CC push for, but then I think if that's something personally you'd like to go for, they're very supportive of you and would help you through that process. So I think that's sort of a personal thing to choose. Yeah.
That's perfect. And in terms of Emily and Kai, obviously you want to complete your internship and have a fantastic rest of the year. But in terms of future plans, and kind of Emily, you've touched upon it slightly already. You know, kind of gaining these experiences and how much it's benefited you already in terms of maybe even just future projects at CC, but where your career can take you. So personally, you know, how do you think this placement so far, like I know we're only 4 or 5 months in, but has benefited you as an individual? So Emily, sticking with you on that one.
Yeah, I think honestly, I hadn't expected how much it would benefit me. I thought, oh, I'll go do a placement. Frankly, lots of my friends were doing placements, and I thought it'd be really nice to get some experience, wherever that be for the year. But it's totally surprised me how much I've enjoyed it. And I think it's given me so much motivation for when I go back to complete my final year. I think working at university, you're going to lectures, you're doing, in my case, because I'm a mechanical engineer, you're doing design projects, but they don't really have like a commercial focus or an end focus. So sometimes it is hard to stay motivated, but coming into industry and actually working on real life projects for real people, for real clients, like it's just such a different kettle of fish. And I think that it's just so much more interesting and, like I said, motivating, and you're surrounded by lots of different people. And yeah, because it's not just your course. I'm working with electronics engineers, I'm working with data engineers. Like, you're able to be exposed to so many different people. I think it's really kind of broadened my mindset as to what is out there and the kind of work that's on offer. Like Kai said, he's like heard of, like, exposed to projects that he didn't even know that science existed. It's so similar. So I think really a company like CC, it's just broaden everything. And so in terms of going back, I'm just excited to complete my final year, and then I would love to carry on working in medtech. I think it's really consolidated to me that that's the area that I want to be in. So yeah, although it's maybe not as broad as ICE, it's still, like I said, you've got lots of different areas that you can go down. But yeah, it's definitely confirmed to me that it's the place where I want to be.
Perfect. Amazing.
How does that work, Lucy? Do the interns need to reapply to come back as a grad, or the fast tracked? Can you
Yeah,
talk
it's
us
a
through
really
that a
good
bit?
question. To be honest, it kind of there is slight variations across the division. So a lot of our interns move to grads, to be honest. So we've already got, I think, like 15 offers to our last year placement students who finished the summer of this year for next year. So it's really, really common. So quite often at the end of one of our placement students year with us, the group leader may kind of have that final meeting and offer the position. In some cases there would be they'll just come back closer to the time, because if we have to consider not all of our placement students will be in their final year. So for those that have got kind of a couple years left, they'll then come back kind of towards the end of their university time, and might have like a shorter interview just to touch base, and then that would go to kind of offer. So it kind of depends on the circumstances. But yeah, it's what we're investing, and we've got these amazing interns that are spending time with us who've done this amazing work. We'd love to have them back, but it's not it's not mandatory. We also appreciate that this is an opportunity to help our placement students work out what they like. We've actually got one placement student last year that worked in a completely different space in test in our wireless and digital services division, and they've been offered a role for ICE and machine learning because they've realized that's what they enjoy a bit more. So there is also that kind of flexibility there as well. Probably not articulated that very well, but yeah, I think we recruit a lot of interns to grads, and that's kind of hopefully it's up to the individuals and circumstances, I suppose.
Yeah, that's a good point, Lisa. Actually, before this, because I was doing a bit of research on you guys and watching some video content on your hub. You got some really good video content on there, and there was an interview. I've forgotten the lady's name, but she was saying a similar thing. She actually applied for a certain role, and then I think it was someone who had your team, Lucy, said, actually, you'd be perfect for this kind of role. So that's quite nice to know that CC are wanting the best for you as an individual as well, and if you do apply to an opportunity and it might be that they think you're better off somewhere else, that you'd have those discussions, which I thought was really, really good.
Yeah,
that's actually 100%. What happened to me. Sorry.
How was it?
Yeah. Yeah. So I interviewed for a mechatronics role, actually, mechatronics and integrated systems. But when I had my technical interview, in the answers to some of my questions, they thought that my design work would be better. So that's why I'm in mechanical engineering and manufacturing. But it doesn't mean that I can't work in any mechatronics work. And that's what I was really pleased about. When I joined, I've been on a ICE project. I worked on a continuum robot. So because they knew that I did have some coding experience, I was still able to use that. But like you exactly said, they kind of saw that I'd be suited for something else, but it doesn't mean it's completely shutting away that door and they're ignoring what you originally wanted to do. It's kind of working together and saying that you might be better suited for this, but you can still try out other things. So that's exactly my experience, really.
There we are. Perfect. Next, gonna talk a bit. I'm conscious for time, but Kai, do you want to add anything to that in terms of benefit of doing a placement, or do you feel like it's been said?
I mean, it's been said, really. Everyone should do a placement, really. It's great. You'll learn so much. I'm learned more doing this than I ever expected. So yeah, do one.
Perfect. Yeah.
Just going to love you forever for saying that, Kai.
I'm such a massive advocate of doing a placement. Sticking with you, Kai, if you don't mind, talking a bit about training and development then. It sounds like you've all got that support in lots of different ways. But have you experienced anything particular that you want to tell everyone about in terms of your training development and how CC have supported you?
Yeah, so I guess there's kind of two sides to it. There's one of the training that is offered to all employees, and that is way more extensive than I would have imagined. So I've been on loads of training courses, both technical and non-technical. So you'll be introduced to new software you've not learned before, and I've been on days and days of like CAD training for software that I hadn't used. So that's been really helpful. And then more specific particular things about work that you might be doing or areas of interest you might have. But then also I would say you just learn such an incredible amount from being on projects and speaking to engineers with far more experience than you do. And I guess that's a bit intimidating at the beginning when you've got to learn a bit of the jargon and some of the stuff that people are talking about you wouldn't have come across before, when it's perhaps something which isn't as complicated as you'd imagine.
Yeah.
But you just pick it up so fast. I feel so much more confident now than I did 4 months ago just by being on the projects and doing the training. And I know that if there's an area that I'd like to learn more about, I know people who have done courses on, all kinds of different stuff. So there's always that opportunity available, and that's made very clear. It's very well publicized, and that's for any stage in your career. It's not just for interns who are expected to maybe not know quite as much. That's for everyone.
And it makes sense, from a business perspective, CC want all of their employees, by the sounds of it, to be the best at what they do. If they're the best at what they do, then they can offer the best customer service to their clients. So it's almost built in, isn't it? As what you do as a business, but going right down to that support and training and development for those individuals, it's needed. So that's really, really good to hear. Finlay, I'm going to come to you next, if that's okay. The next question, just kind of moving away from your day job. You might be able to give more examples maybe, but Kai or Emily, you can chip in if you've got other experiences. But in kind of moving away from the day job, what kind of other things do you get up to at CC?
Yeah, so I mean, the social aspect of CC is actually really good as well. They've got a social club who run all sorts of events. I didn't go, but there was a sort of go-karting event earlier on this month. They have weekly badminton and other clubs. I go to a weekly board game club on a Thursday.
Happy tonight?
Yeah. And outside of work, loads of people are keen to do things outside of work. So that might be just sort of going up to the bar. I also go climbing, and people from my team, but other parts of the company, will sort of go together. And even if you don't go with someone, you might bump into someone from CC there. So yeah, it's a nice place to be. Yeah.
Oh, lovely. That's nice. And yeah, Kai, Emily, I don't know if you've had, I'm assuming you will have, but had similar experiences.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel like before I started, I didn't really have an idea of what that culture was going to be like, but I've been so pleasantly surprised by how well I've got on with everyone in my team and everyone who I've got on with. And I find myself, on evenings and weekends spending time with people who I've met at work way, way more often than I would have imagined at the beginning, whether it's going around to someone's house for, to make some curry and to play some board games, or going climbing, or doing something organized through the social club. That's been a far more extensive part of my kind of outside of work life than I thought that it was going to be before I started, which is a really, really good thing.
Oh, amazing. Lovely. That's a really good point. Thanks, Kai. Emily, I don't know if you want to add.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like I've been to board game nights. We had quite a few like pizza evenings for early careers as well, which is always good. And it's pizza up at the bar, so pizza and a pint, I think can't go wrong.
Made that pizza and a pint now.
So yeah, and again, climbing, I mean, it's the engineers thing. I went last night and I met 3 people from CC that I'd never seen before, kind of thing. So it's really nice that lots of people do want to socialize outside of work. And we have a paint and sip night coming up, so it's kind of it's like canvas painting and wine drinking. Again, there was wine tasting last night. So the social club are really, really great at putting things on for people, and it's really well received. Like lots of people go, and like people want other people to go. So it's really great.
That's really, really nice. Carla, I'm going to hand back to you because I'm conscious of the time, and I attend these webinars and I'm like, I want to apply as well. So tell us, Lucy, how do we apply and what's the application process like?
Yeah, absolutely. So for the application process, obviously you can go onto the hub on Gradcracker, and there's a full mix of the roles that we have available at the moment. It's worth noting some of our graduate roles might be coming live. More of them might be coming through early next year as well. So definitely worth touching base there. Have a look at the company, get a feel for the company. You can apply through the hub. You can apply for more than one role. As Emily's stated, we might actually receive your application and think that you might be slightly better suited to applying to another role, or actually going through the interview process for more than one roles. And in that case, we'll try and double up those interviews together to save you time. I review all the applications first, and then they go to the hiring manager or the recruitment team who are kind of in that group. And then our first stage interview is a 45-minute Zoom interview. We try and move as quickly as possible with this process as well, but also being considerate. If you've got other interviews going on, we can try and work with you to align those, even if it's kind of commuting to Cambridge or just with general timelines. The Zoom interview is kind of a blend of technical and non-technical, very much based on what's on your CV. So I would really recommend putting modules on your CV, but specifically the modules that you enjoy doing at university, because we will kind of shape our roles to the candidate that will add the most value to the team. So put the stuff that you like doing on, and we're going to ask you questions about that. So I would, don't put those modules that you really don't enjoy, put the ones you want to talk about, get them on there, and we'll just try and make sure that we're kind of putting you in front of the right people. The second stage is at our Cambridge office. Now, on the Gradcracker Hub, I think it's a really great resource, but there's a video on there saying what to expect at CC. It's an animated video, but it really gives kind of logistical, kind of what the reception area looks like, what the whole process is on that day, just so you can kind of feel comfortable before arriving, because I think it's quite nerve-wracking sometimes. Everyone's really friendly, but in the office is a blend of technical and non-technical, lunch and tour of our facilities. You'll meet with me. We'll do kind of some catching up, talking through kind of what you want to gain from the role, etc. And then we'll get back to you within 2 weeks if we're offering you the position. Worth also noting, if you are offered a position and you're going to join, in around April time, we organise a tour for all the early career starters to come to the office together. You get to meet each other. You can see your team outside of that interview setting, actually see them again outside of the interview. We do demos, which you possibly won't see in your interview day because you haven't signed a confidentiality agreement. So you get to come back and you see some cool demos, and it's often used afterwards. It finishes around 2:30. You can go and look at accommodation with those other team members if you want to share accommodation. So there's quite a few different things in the process that hopefully helps you, but it is ultimately a 2-stage interview process, and an opportunity for you to meet the team. So put yourself on the CV, on your application, talk about yourself. You've hopefully heard today how different everyone is with their individual kind of interests. So on your application, really put who you are, put your interests, what you enjoy. Are you a hobbyist? We want to know if you like building bikes in your spare time or taking down, computers. Get that on there. We want to see you, would be my advice for that process.
Perfect.
Lucy, do you mind me adding a bit of pillar wisdom to that? Because I'm seeing that this year. A lot of students are saying to me they're doing part-time jobs, potentially, in retail, hospitality, whatever. And they're saying to me, but I haven't got any work experience. And I'm like, you have. If you've got a part-time job, there's so many transferable skills in having a part-time job. And it doesn't matter that it's not necessarily relevant to the company or the industry that you're applying to. So Lucy, if you don't mind putting you on the spot, you'd like to see that. That's good for you to see that in an application, that students, are also juggling part-time roles as well as.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think there's so many qualities to be taken from that, so many qualities. And, so much of what we're looking at outside of early careers recruitment as well is career switches, experience that people have had previously. So there's so many translatable skills. We also want to kind of know what you've been doing, kind of what environments you've been exposed to. So yeah, definitely get that on there. And also, for those that kind of are into software, your GitHub, even if you've been working on things in your free time, we just want to get a bit of a flavour of you, to be honest. So all of that stuff, your kind of projects that you've done at home, if you're doing part-time roles at the moment, definitely get it on there. One thing I am like a bit anti as a recruiter is the whole myth, like, oh, it should be a 1-stage or a 2-stage CV. I think I don't like that kind of restriction. Like, go with kind of talk about yourself, get things on there, and we'll have a look through. But key to me is getting those modules on there so we can see what you're enjoying and a bit about you.
That's a good point.
And thanks, Lucy. And yeah, definitely top tip. And talk to us a little bit more about Cambridge then. So do you help with relocation? You've just mentioned about house sharing and things like that. How does CC help students when they do need to come to the office?
Yeah. Cambridge, I might be biased. I've only ever lived in Cambridge, but I love Cambridge. One of my favourite places is the Botanical Gardens, and we have free access as being CCers. So there's loads of things that you can do. Cambridge itself, I'll try and be quick. I know we're conscious that we've got the time, but effectively where we're based is in the Cambridge Science Park. So that 15 minutes from our office is a train station. There's the guided bus route that goes straight in, and it's a city of cyclists. So if you like cycling, a great place to be. We get our bike service for free each month. So it's really commutable if you're relying on public transport. I personally live in a tiny little village 20 minutes out, and I drive in. There's so many convenient places around. It's just it's good to get to. Because of hybrid working in the Cambridge area, traffic I find is absolutely fine. So Cambridge, great, really commutable place in where we are in the office. Before you join, I'll connect you with all the other starters for that year. And I'll share a presentation with estate agents that you could reach out to, common areas that our tech scholars, interns and grads stay in, and then encourage those new starters to liaise with each other and go and look at accommodation together. A lot of our previous interns will then share their landlord details. We've got one house that's been passing through the ranks for a few years now. So yeah, we definitely try and kind of, I suppose, encourage those communications with each other, share some resources. And if you're a grad and your home address is more than 45 miles from our office, and you're moving within 30 miles, there's a relocation package as well. So that's removal vans, temporary kind of house hunting costs. If you're looking to buy a house, which not everyone's in a position to do so, but if you are, there's support and legal fees as well. So that's if you're a grad moving closer. So a few different things, but for us, it's just trying to give support where we can, give hints and tips and things like that.
Perfect.
I really like Cambridge. I think it's a great place personally. It's a lovely city. It's a really nice space. There's stuff for everyone.
Yeah, I like it. Well, our offices are based in York, which is quite similar to Cambridge, and they're really beautiful locations. So don't forget what Lucy said and what I said at the beginning of the webinar, currently open to interns and graduates. So make sure you get your applications in. As we mentioned, there's a preliminary deadline of the 30th of November, but that could be extended, but it might not be. So don't rush, but do get your applications in as soon as you can. And like Lucy said, opportunities might be opening in the new year as well. So give CC a quick follow on Gradcracker to be alerted when their opportunities go live. Join me and Jess next Thursday. Can't believe it's the end of November. We're joined by the RAF on the next webinar. But thank you very much, everybody, for attending today. It's been brilliant, and we'll hopefully see you again soon.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thanks,
everyone.
Thank you very much.